The whole crew is here for this week's Test Miles. Pit crew Sean, Ryan, and Brad, crew chief Jen, and our driver Nick Miles. Start your engines. It's go time.
Welcome back to Test Miles. I'm Nick Miles, and we are about town in Portland today, checking out some of the vehicles that are hitting town. There is a special event going on called Drive Revolution. This is an event where the best and latest in green cars arrive in our city and are judged. And the judges look at whether those vehicles fit into our everyday family lives, whether they work for us, and how good their mileage is, their cost, the fit and finish, and the reputation of the company. And eventually, that one lucky winner walks away with the grand prize. One of the vehicles that isn't entered this year, but happens to be here on display because it's so new. In fact, it smells like it just came out of the factory with that beautiful new car smell, is the brand new Chrysler Pacifica Hybrid. Now, we've heard about many hybrid supercars, and we've heard about hybrid small, weird-looking split rear window things, and we've heard about hybrid motorcycles, but we have never seen a hybrid minivan. And the Pacifica is a truly great minivan. It's what's replacing the Town & Country, even though the Town & Country is still in production. And Angela from Fiat Chrysler is with us. Angela, the Pacifica has just gone on sale, and we're hearing that sales are exceeding expectations.
Yeah, absolutely. We're very excited. We've sold over 10,000 units since we launched the Pacifica just earlier this spring. And the great part is customers cannot wait to get their hands on them. They'll be calling their dealers, asking, which ones they have in stock and if it's the one that they want. So just the response has been really, really great.
Now, what makes the Pacifica different from any other minivan? And Brad Boyer is our kind of resident minivan tester because he's the one with two young kids. But what makes this different from the Kia Sedona, from the Honda Odyssey, from the Toyota Sienna? What changes the game with the Pacifica?
So we think that the Pacifica has really reinvented the minivan segment. And Chrysler as a company invented the minivan more than 30 years ago. We invented the segment. So as the creators of this segment, we thought it was our duty to kind of come back and just really redefine what the minivan should be. So we took all the great features that were in our previous minivans, like stow and go seating, where the seats will fold completely flat into the floor and you can have all kinds of cargo space, but then the seats are also with you in case you need to pick someone up on the way. And we made it even better. We have an all-new platform, so it's amazing ride and handling. We have a new powertrain, so you're getting great fuel economy. It's just we've really taken all the great functionality and technology aspects and made them even better.
After years of the Japanese and the Koreans trying to knock you off your pedestal, the Town & Country still remained and remains today a pretty powerful force, and it's still being made for fleet and for other uses, but it still remains. It's not being made for fleet?
No, we're actually, so we're still building the Dodge Grand Caravan in its current iteration, but now we've switched production over from the Town & Country to the Pacifica. So the plant in Windsor, Canada is now building the Dodge Grand Caravan and the Pacifica.
Okay, so the Dodge Grand Caravan was, and tell me if I'm wrong, was basically a Town & Country without all the razzmatazz.
It was for a different customer, yes, but they were on the same platform. So now we have two very different minivans. One for the more Dodge customer that's a little more performance oriented, and then this Chrysler Pacifica that's really this brand new, no compromises minivan.
It's sometimes hard in my head to separate them because I know they're basically built on the same platform and they look very similar. It's just maybe the exterior, the grill's sort of slightly different, and the wheel choices and those things are slightly different. So you've sold this month already around 10,000 Pacificas.
Yeah, that's right. And actually, you brought up the other minivans. We're still selling some Town & Countries. So between the three minivans, the Grand Caravan, the Town & Country, and the Pacifica, we sold almost 30,000 minivans last month.
And that's probably, the minivan segment has shrunk down from millions to just hundreds of thousands. I think it was one of the biggest segments, and yet you've always dominated it. And nobody came in. It's not like, BlackBerry was the best phone ever, and along comes Apple and knocks them off of the top of the tree. You've really remained the minivan ever since the inception.
Right, and I think a lot of that comes from us really trying to be innovative in this space. So, throughout the history of the minivan, we've had, before this one, we had 78 minivan firsts with our vehicles. But this Pacifica in particular adds another 37 minivan firsts. So, as a company, we've had 115 minivan innovations, but this new vehicle has nearly 40 of them. So that really tells you just how new it is.
Now, the other thing I noticed about the vehicle is it is pretty high-tech, high-standard. The lines between luxury and non-luxury are very, very gray now, and you have some really interesting pieces of equipment in it, especially the computer in the back for the kids to entertain them.
Yes, so that's our rear seat entertainment system. We call it the Uconnect Theater. So it's two 10-inch touchscreens. They're also Bluetooth remotes, if the kids want to sit back, or maybe if they're younger and their arms can't reach it. And we have built-in games and apps. You can hook up, video games, tablets, basically anything that the kids or even adults in the second row want to watch. We can put it on these 10-inch screens.
Now, Kevin, you're also sitting inside this, and we're sitting inside the hybrid version of the Pacifica. You're the chief engineer for the hybrid version of this vehicle, but you had to make some significant changes. The first one was this has a giant battery in it that you had to find space for.
That's right. We have a 16 kilowatt hour battery. So basically what we've done is we've packaged it underneath the floor pan where normally the second row stow and go tubs are. So we've eliminated those tubs. We've packaged the battery underneath the vehicle. And in place of the second row stow and go seats, we have two quad seats that fold flat for the that load that you would get at a big box store, or completely remove. You can completely take them out of the van for even more storage capability. The goal was to find a place for the battery without compromising the usable customer space inside the vehicle.
Now, there are a couple of things that amazed me about this vehicle, and it's not so much that it looks that much different from the regular Pacifica, because I can stand next to both of them. You have both of them here, and I can see, okay, one has a different grille and a different color, and one has a hybrid E with a nice blue leaf on the side where the charge port goes. This is a plug-in hybrid, but the numbers that you're getting out of it are what amazes me. So you can get 30 miles on one single charge.
That's correct. We have a 30-mile electric range, and when the battery is depleted to a certain level, it will automatically switch over to hybrid mode, where in combination with electric range and hybrid range, you can get a total of over 530 miles on this vehicle.
Let's talk about what can you tell me about when these will be available, when we will know the price of them.
So it'll be later this year, around fourth quarter. So we'll have those out. And, as you know, we do have the gas versions out at dealerships now.
And then do we know price range, or are they still looking at content or those sort of things?
Yep, they're still finalizing all the content and the packages. So we'll have pricing closer to launch once everything is finalized.
And then, Kevin, the final question before we go to break. If I am out of electric power in this vehicle and I plug it in to my charger, how long until it would recharge?
2 hours on a level 2 charger, and about 14 hours on a level 1 charger.
So if I come home at night on a weeknight, I could plug it in at home just off a 110, and it would probably be charged, ready to go for the morning, that sort of thing. So technically, I wouldn't even have to have a special charger plugged in, unless I could stretch the cable from my tumble dryer all the way out to the garage, right?
Well, that's certainly an option. But yeah, you can get a fair amount of charge with a 110 overnight, right, at 14 hours. A level 2 charger, you can really maximize your usage on electric with a level 2 charger, because it's only really 2 hours to charge the battery.
Thanks for talking to us. You're listening to Test Miles. You just heard it first here. All the new inside information about the new Chrysler Pacifica hybrid version. Look for it sometime after September at your local Chrysler dealer. And by the way, take them for a ride, because these vehicles, I spent about 4 days in a gas version and took my parents out in it, and we went to Disneyland, and I have fantastic pictures of them both out like 6-year-olds in the back seat on the return from Disneyland. One of my most treasured family memories. We'll be back soon. This is Test Miles.
The fastest quarter-mile time in radio. It's Test Miles with Nick Miles. He drives Aston Martins in Tuscany. He drives Ferraris down snow-covered ski hills in Austria. But he's here every week for Test Miles. Here is Nick Miles.
Welcome back to Test Miles. I am Nick Miles, and in this show, we are driving around Portland testing some of the best green cars in the country. And I'm with somebody who has changed sides recently. Davis Adams used to be a journalist, but now he is the West Coast manager for Honda as far as product is concerned. And you have brought what for me to test drive today?
Hi, Nick. Thanks for having me on today. Right now, we are sitting in the all-new 2017 Honda Accord Hybrid.
And this car is significant for multiple reasons. But the first one, which is surprising, it's a mid-size sedan, the roomiest in the class, but yet it gets 49 miles a gallon in the city. What magic tricks are you using at Honda?
Only the best magic there is. So what's great about this car is, you're right, it does get 49 mpg in the city, and that is best in class. There's no other mid-size sedan in the hybrid market that offers that kind of fuel economy, which is awesome. Not only that, it has the most power in this segment. We have 212 horsepower, which is up from a 196 before. So we are the most powerful and the most efficient in the class, and that is some real magic.
Let me add into this mix something that makes this like a fairy story. It starts at $30,000.
Oh, it's true, and that's a really, really well-equipped car. It climbs, our touring model that we're sitting in right now is right at 35, but every single Accord Hybrid comes with our Honda Sensing suite of driver assistive and safety aids. So this car has all the semi-autonomous tech in it that makes it a safer car to drive on the road. It can watch the cars in front of it and keep up with them in terms of adaptive cruise control. It'll stop itself in an emergency braking situation. It also watches the lanes on the highway and helps turn the wheel with you, so that it kind of follows the lanes, side to side, and even has a road departure mitigation system. It is cool. Not only that, we're looking right now, we have CarPlay. This car also offers Android Auto inside the vehicle. It is a lot of technology. It's a lot of tech with great fuel efficiency.
When can I get one?
You can get it right now, actually. It's already on sale. It went on sale about a month ago, and they'll be on sale, for the foreseeable future. This is the beginning of Honda's new push into environmental vehicles. So the Accord Hybrid is the beginning of that story.
What's next?
So next you're going to see Clarity, the Clarity fuel cell. That's a hydrogen-powered car. And then after that, you'll see the Clarity plug-in hybrid and battery electric vehicles as well.
Tell me something that nobody else knows.
You have really beautiful eyes.
No, I meant about Honda, clever clogs.
Yeah. Well, so we're just very lucky to have all the technology available to us right now. As I was mentioning with the Honda Sensing, that we're offering the most robust level of technology in terms of driver's aids that are available in any of the consumer segments right now. So, short of being in a full luxury car, we have more driver's aids available. And that technology that's in this car right now is available all the way down to the base Honda Civic LX, which means you can put your 16-year-old in a car that will help them drive more safely for just $20,000. But when you're looking at the Accord Hybrid, we're also looking at top-of-class fuel efficiency, top-of-class power, which is it just makes a really great, robust driving experience and something that keeps you from going to the pump too often.
I like this idea. If I was to check every box, I know you say $35,000, but surely if I check every single box on options, could I get it higher than $35,000?
No, that's pretty much everything. I mean, as with all of our cars, we offer some accessories if you want to throw on kind of like a roof rack or something like that. But in terms of the technology and full package of the car, that's out the door. We're not all about individual a la carte things like that. We have individual trims that cover all your bases.
So now we've jumped in a luxury SUV. This is a Lexus. It's the RX 450h, and Leanne Sessions is with us here. You are the spokesperson for Lexus. Lexus kind of cleaned up with hybrids, haven't you? You have, with your sister company, Toyota, pretty much have more hybrids than any other company. Is that right?
I believe so. I know at least on the Lexus side, we have 6 hybrids in our lineup, which is more than any other luxury automaker.
Can you tell me what they are?
Absolutely. So we have the CT200H, the ES, the GS, the RX, which you're in, the NX, and the LS.
Wow, look at you. You have your product memorized, don't you? The RX is actually brand new as a vehicle. It just came out last summer. How are sales going so far?
This is our number one selling vehicle out of all of the cars that we have in our entire lineup.
And what would you equate it? What size we call this? Is this a mid-size CUV, or is it? It's not a full size, but it's mid-size, right?
Yes, we would call this a mid-size. Well, we would call it a luxury utility vehicle, but it is a crossover.
Why do you guys got to be different than everyone else?
We like to sound fancy.
And it is fancy. I'm inside of this car, so let me tell you what I noticed first of all, and you can tell me a little bit about it. First of all, there's three big things. The cockpit has a very high center console. Almost makes me feel like I'm in a sports car. The screen is almost as big as the one I used to have in my bedroom as a child for my television. And the fit and finish, there is a lot of very fancy stitching and a wooden steering wheel.
Yes, you are looking, and this is difficult, of course, to explain on the radio, but this is our matte bamboo wood trim. So if you'd feel it, it's not as lacquered as a lot of other wood trims are, and it's got a much more natural feel, and you can see it on the steering wheel there. And that screen that you're talking about is our 12.3-inch widescreen that was introduced in this. It's also in the GS now and the LX, and it's going to be making its way across our lineup. But you can split the screen three different ways if you'd like. So you can have your map up, you could have your climate control or your radio or your phone. You can kind of choose what you want to see up there, and it's all in line of sight so that when you're looking, you don't really have to take your eyes off the road to see what's on it.
Are you now trying to find things to go on screens because you have so much space?
No, we're just trying to put it all in a much more accessible spot for you.
I actually like the idea of being able to see multiple things on the screen. It's like those fancy TV screens where you can have like 4 or 5 or 6 different channels going on at one time on the screen. Now, let's talk about fuel economy. One of the things that Lexus Toyota Group is known for is great fuel economy and also reliability. So what's the fuel economy on this?
So this car is 30 miles per gallon combined, and that's 30 in the city, 28 on the highway. And this has the latest iteration of our Lexus hybrid drive. And in this car, it's a 3.5-liter V6 matched to the hybrid system.
Now, I don't hear the gas engine running as we're sitting here at the light.
No, that's because the battery is still pretty charged since we're in the city and we're using a lot of brakes to help regenerate power for that battery.
So it's running on electric power alone when it runs under a certain miles per hour?
Yes, and I can't recall exactly. I think it's 20 or 25 miles an hour, but it's also dependent on the capacity of the battery and how low it is. And right now we're still pretty charged, so that's why you don't hear it.
All right, this is Test Miles. I'm Nick Miles. When we return, testing more green cars in Portland.
The left is for the clutch, the right is for the gas, and the driver for Test Miles is Nick Miles.
You're listening to Test Miles, and welcome back to the show. I'm Nick Miles, and we have jumped inside the e-Golf, or the electric Golf, with Daryl Harrison from VW. Daryl, first of all, this has been one of the earlier electric vehicles and pretty successful for you guys.
It's been great. The e-Golf was first introduced to the U.S. market in 2014. It's the first plug-in all-electric vehicle sold by Volkswagen in the States. And, consumers have responded very well to it.
I think the one thing that makes the e-Golf stand out from every other electric vehicle is it's no different looking than any other Golf. And so people, until they see the extra badging or maybe some significant colors or can't hear it coming, that's when they know it's an e-Golf, right?
You're right. And, the car was really designed to be a Golf and to be a Volkswagen first and foremost. The Golf family in general is on what we call the MQB platform, which is a platform that was designed to be able to accommodate a number of different powertrain choices, from gas to compressed natural gas to fuel cell and also to electric. And as a result, the platform already had the right place for the battery. And for the power electronics. And so what you have in the e-Golf is you have a car that drives like a Volkswagen. It is the same size as any other four-door Golf that's on the market today. Same features. and it's all electric. So it's a really, really interesting package that consumers, again, have really, really resonated with. And the other thing to keep in mind is we do have an artificial sound, so customers can potentially hear the car coming, just can't hear it inside.
It's kind of weird because I'm driving this vehicle and it's probably the quietest vehicle I've ever been inside, but I'm looking at the instrument panel, I'm looking at the navigation, the touch navigation system, I'm looking at the buttons, the shifter and everything else. Yeah. There's nothing in here until I look at the gauges that tells me it's a e-Golf.
That's right. I mean, like I said, the experience inside the e-Golf is the same experience you're going to get in any Golf product. And, one of the big benefits is that, some of our competitors have issues with battery intrusion and their electric vehicles being even smaller in terms of cargo capacity and seating capacity. But the e-Golf, like I said, is the exact same space. It's actually one of the largest compact EVs available on the market today. And the other thing is like, in addition to the gauges, like you mentioned, we, for 2016, most of our Volkswagen products have received a new MIB infotainment platform. And so what you have with the e-Golf is you have a whole host of different screens and bits of information that you can glean while driving the car. So that's also unique, obviously, for this particular product. But like you said, the experience overall is very, very familiar.
One of the things that Volkswagen is doing is getting ready for a mass electrification. We saw that with the Bud E, the vehicle that you showed for the first time at CES last year.
You're right. And, and here's the interesting thing is, Volkswagen has worked on e-mobility for a number of years. And if you want to go even further back, we were developing prototypes and running test fleets decades ago. So it's definitely not something that we just started recently. Like you said, in January of this year, we had the Bud E. We introduced the new MEB platform, which is a platform designed specifically for plug-in applications. And that's a platform that you will see in future Volkswagen products.
Daryl Harrison from VW, thank you for taking us for a ride in your e-Golf. I really enjoyed driving it, although I'm not sure that I heard myself drive it. I definitely felt myself driving. One of my senses was deprived during today's ride and drive.
But your footprint was vastly reduced. Which is
there you go. I saved some trees.
Yes.
Okay, well, this is probably the car I've been waiting to get inside all day. We are lucky enough in Portland to have an Acura NSX, a beautiful sports car that is one of the first hybrid sports cars, I would say the first mass-produced hybrid sports car, American-built, and Ali's here from Acura. First of all, how many arms and legs did you have to break to get one here in Portland?
Oh, none, but we are really excited to bring the Acura NSX here. We're so excited just to bring it to market. It's been 4 really quick years where we've developed a whole new supercar and manufacturing facility dedicated to the supercar all at once. So we're excited that it's here.
It's kind of there's so many firsts in this car. First of all, it's really easy to drive. The car does an awful lot of work for you. So even somebody who's pretty useless on the racetrack like me can actually do well. Second of all, some of the manufacturing systems that you've invented for this have been outstanding. For instance, you're using lasers to put the body panels on the car to make sure that the gaps are exactly right and they're in the right position.
Yeah, absolutely. This customer is demanding perfection, and Acura as a brand, we are going back to our mantra of precision crafted performance. That's when we launched the brand, we had that. We're celebrating our 30th anniversary. So this is, the NSX is the pinnacle expression of precision crafted performance. So just like that, making sure the fitment is exactly perfect. Everything is completely precise. That is what this car demands, and frankly the customer demands.
All right, so let's talk some stats about the car. There are 3 motors in this vehicle, and 1 engine. What are those 3 motors doing right now?
Yep. So I can take you through probably the best way we can start with the engine. Actually, it's a 3.5 liter 75-degree bank V6 engine, twin turbo. So this is a mid-engine car, so it's right behind us. Attached to that is the crankshaft and the direct drive motor. So that's one of the electric motors. That sends torque directly to the 9-speed dual clutch transmission, completely bespoke transmission to this vehicle. So that engine there, or rather the electric motor, is helping torque fill. So it's assisting with torque fill as the turbos go through its turbo lag. Then we've got 2 electric motors in the front. It's what we call the twin motor unit, or the TMU. And what those do is those are enhancing and assisting all aspects of dynamic performance: acceleration, braking, handling, sending torque and creating torque directly at the left and right front wheels. So this is Honda and Acura have been at the torque vectoring game for 25 years now. This is our latest iteration. We were extremely excited. In our traditional and current system and other vehicles, we split torque and send it to the left and right wheels. With this, we don't have to. We're creating torque at the left and right front wheels. It's really exciting.
I actually am so interested in what Acura and Honda have been doing with wheels. I mean, it's not necessarily a new invention, but a reinvention of the four-wheel steering on some of your vehicles, multi-uses of engines driving separate wheels, the use of all of the extras like sort of the turbos and those type of things. Just every tool in the toolbox you seem to have found a home for.
Yeah, absolutely. This NSX it stands for New Sports Experience, and the team was charged with how do you create a new sports experience in 2016. The original did back in 1990. So how do we recreate that? And certainly electrification and the other technologies that we're using here in this vehicle. That's our approach to the future, certainly.
Now, let's talk a little bit about availability and price. There was this long battle between Seinfeld and whoever that wanted to be the first on the list. But do they have their cars already?
I can't confirm that, but I would say that I'm pretty sure that Mr. Leno and Mr. Seinfeld have both of their vehicles. So they did not, neither of them received the first, though. The first gentleman who received the first production NSX with VIN 001 was Mr. Rick Hendrick. He actually bought the rights to customize the VIN 001 at Barrett-Jackson Scottsdale. So
how much was that for?
He won the auction for $1.2 million. So
cheap at twice the price, I would say.
Yeah, we actually won, or rather that made a record at Barrett-Jackson Scottsdale, and all of the proceeds went to 2 really amazing children's charities, which is great. So, although the celebrities couldn't win it in their battle, we are happy that 2 children's charities benefited from it.
Hey, you're listening to Test Miles. I'm Nick Miles. Thanks, Ali, for talking to us about the brand new Acura NSX. Definitely one piece of machinery that I could make room for in my garage, however tight that fit might be.
The left is for the clutch, the right is for the gas, and the driver for Test Miles is Nick Miles. He drives Aston Martins in Tuscany. He drives Ferraris down snow-covered ski hills in Austria. But he's here every week for Test Miles. Here is Nick Miles.
We are listening to Test Miles, and welcome back to the show. I'm Nick Miles, and we are driving green cars around Portland with some of the manufacturers that have shipped them in specially for us. And Paige is here from Nissan, and what's your official title? But you're in charge of, like, the Leaf, basically.
Essentially, EV and technology communications.
Why do they make your titles? Can't they just say boss of the Leaf? Wouldn't that be much easier?
Well, that's what I'm putting on my business card.
There you go. Let's talk a little bit about the Leaf. We're driving it right now. We're at 3rd and Taylor in downtown Portland. The Leaf is the largest selling all-electric car in North America. Am I correct in saying that?
You are so right. You've read the fact sheet.
It's
amazing.
I do often do a little bit of research before we go on the radio. Not always, but often try to get it right. Now, the Leaf sort of began everything for the electric car revolution. Why has it been successful? Because of its longevity in the market, or is it just a superior product?
I think we did pioneer the EV industry. We were the first mass market electric vehicle on the road back in 2010. And beyond that, we've made significant infrastructure investments in the last 6 years. So we've grown infrastructure to more than, I think, 1,700 quick chargers across the country. And we understand that that's the key point of EV ownership, is having the ability to charge on the go.
So let's talk about what's happening this year with the Leaf. You've made several major improvements to the car.
Yes, so with the 2016 model year, we introduced the 30 kilowatt hour battery, which gets a class-leading 107 miles of range. And of course, we updated the infotainment system as well, so you now have a 7-inch screen here in the center stack, and that gives you access to Nissan Connect EV with mobile apps. So you have an app that allows you to turn the car on and start climate control, which is really important in your super hot or super cold months. You have the ability to check on charging. You can stop and start charging remotely, and it just gives you a little bit of an added view of your car from your cell phone.
Now, one of the things I've noticed about electric cars is, and maybe I'm wrong, but they don't seem to be getting considerably cheaper. And we're moving quite a long way from when they were first invented, but still around $40,000 for an electric car. It's kind of an expensive investment, isn't it?
Well, we try to price ours comparatively with traditional gas-powered sedans. So with a Nissan Leaf, you start at $29,010 for the S grade, and of course, depending on what grade level you go from there, it will go up. And that's before the federal tax incentive and any state tax incentives that you may qualify for.
Now, are we still within the federal tax incentive? Because that is sort of disappearing. For some vehicles, it's disappearing. Does the Leaf still qualify for that?
We do. We still qualify for the $7,500 federal tax credit.
And when does that expire? Does it expire when you've sold so many cars, or is it after so many years, or when do people stop getting that benefit?
It goes for a certain number of sales. So I believe the number is 200,000 per automaker.
So you're actually still. Well, I guess technically all you'd have to do is change the name of the car, and then you could start all over again, right?
Well, we're not going to cheat the system, but it could be possible.
So I have jumped inside the brand new Chevy Volt with my friend Shad Balch. Shad, first of all, I had this car during the Detroit Auto Show, and I drove it around in the snow, and it handled like a champ. Did they actually design it to drive around in Detroit snow? Because it did better than a lot of the four-wheel drive vehicles.
Well, yeah, I mean, everything is about the tires in inclement weather conditions. So we definitely are able to put the winter tires on this, and it's front-wheel drive, so that gives you the best ability to navigate through snow or rain or whatever comes your way.
It is a car that took a long time to get here and had maybe some things that could have improved from the first generation, but there is pretty much a perfect record for the second generation. I mean, you guys came out with this really dynamic looking, dynamic driving, the math numbers that come out of the equations for fuel economy and recharging and 53 miles on electricity alone. It's pretty much, I get these guys that going, you can plug our car in and it does 12 miles on electricity alone. And you're like, mwah, mwah, mwah. The Volt does 53.
Yeah.
So you guys you have the numbers here. And interior-wise, it looks like the design was done by a high-end Italian car company.
Yeah, I mean, with respect to the battery, we did a lot of research to figure out how people drove and how far they drove to determine the size of the battery pack. Because when we came out with the first gen, people were like, "Well, why 40 miles? What's your thinking?" And it turns out that people drive less than 40 miles a day, but they want to go further in case they need to. So we put the best combination of both worlds into one car. If you charge every night, most of your daily driving is going to be on battery, 52 miles in this car. But if you want to go further, you just keep going, and you let the backup generator come on to take you as far as you want to go. So you can go cross country if you need to. That combined with
what the owners told us they wanted to see improved for Gen 2 is what we're sitting in today. So you're right, it is more refined. It looks more like a conventional car, so that it's not standing out and, you know, looking like something annoying. Because a lot of people, the first thing that you fall in love with the car is the way that it looks.
Right.
And when you're driving this car now, you know you look good.
Yeah.
You fit in. And
Yeah.
like you said, the interior here, it is top notch. It's got the latest in technology. It's a 4G Wi-Fi hotspot. You can connect 7 devices. It's got all the safety features: lane departure warning, collision avoidance systems, rear cross traffic, adaptive cruise control. It even has a new technology called Teen Driver, which allows parents to monitor their kids' driving habits and basically get a report card of how they drove the car. All of this is wrapped up into this car.
Now, I'm very fascinated by the teen driving suite of safety, but isn't this a reason to try and encourage your teen not to let your parents buy a car where they can be policed?
Yeah, the kids will hate us, the parents will love us, that's for sure. I mean, it's a trade-off. I think that, you know, as parents consider letting their kids drive cars for the first time, if they're going to let them take out the nice family car, this is a good way to make sure that they know how to do it. And the real design is to let this be a tool so that parents can look at the way their kids behave on the road and talk to them about it afterward.
Shad, thanks very much for letting us drive the Volt. You're listening to Test Miles, and I'm Nick Miles.